So I hope everybody can see me and hear me. I just wanted to do this video for tonight. I'm gonna probably try to maybe drop it tonight at some point, or maybe even early tomorrow in the morning. So hopefully everybody can see me. I wanted to do it differently, and hopefully there's not gonna be some crazy background noise when I record it this way. Otherwise, I usually have the game playing in the background and just talking about this game. And as you can probably see from the thumbnail that I made, um, I wanted to talk about two particular characters and more for the game itself. And just before I get started, I haven't had power for multiple days, for almost 4 or 5 days, because of that crazy ice storm. I'm not sure if you guys heard about it. Some of you guys in the comments were talking about it from the other posts and many more. And this is one of the biggest storms that I ever experienced, where from an ice storm, I didn't think it was going to be that crazy. Thought I got out of it and escaped it, just to come find out immediately right after, just hours before, after the storm subsided, the power went out and just basically took everything out. So it took a little bit longer for everything to come back to normal. Not everything is back to normal, which is why I'm putting it this way. So I'm not sure what's going to happen. We're supposed to get some more ice and some rain, freezing rain. So I'm not sure what's going to probably end up happening for now. So I wanted to come out with something different. And for the future posts, for now, until everything is back up and restored to normal. So it might take an extra day or two, who knows. But it's gonna be videos of this style with either face cam or just screen recorded videos, just talking about new characters and DLC, different things that the developers can do and bring to the game. Not even just for this, All-Star Brawl, and maybe other topics. I might end up live reacting to other trailers and different things I want to see and talk about for other games, and maybe some other potential characters and the other requests that I still have to get to. So hopefully you guys will be able to enjoy the videos of this style anyway for Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl Kart Racers 3. So we're just going to get started, and notice how I just brought up the website, so I'm going to be probably doing it from the website from this way, in this particular style, for screen recorded videos to talk about these characters, new updates that the game needs. It's so many problems, and just laughing at all the different things that go on, and just, especially with the online with the boosters, you can just go so fast. And I'm one of them too. Just where you could go so fast they can't catch up to you. You just get all the different boosts from Yahoo sodas, the pretty patties, and so much, everything that you could possibly get that you're not supposed to get when you're all the way in first place. So it's just super funny just seeing that. Just goes on, and you just play and just keep on playing. You can unlock characters that way. So I got lucky to really get some of the characters that you need hundreds and hundreds of wins for the online. But let's start talking about this cast of characters. See how it says featuring an iconic cast of 40 characters. This roster that I feel like, which I thought would be a good idea to talk about today, would be, I think it can be even more iconic. We don't need to wait for Nickelodeon Kart Racers 4 to come out at some point. They have so many other games that other characters that they can bring, and missing shows like Wild Thornberrys, for example, and other characters, Kimi Finster, and Tommy Pickles, that I think can fit as DLC for this game. But let's take a look and start scrolling through the roster that y'all can be able to see all the different characters that's in this game. For now, I hope there is DLC. I hope that they're just going to bring more updates. And even if, I'm going to say this too, even if there's not any sort of upcoming DLC, or we're not going to see any other characters for the game, why not? Let's get some more updates for the game to make those changes for some of those things that needs to be changed and needs to be fixed, like the boosters for the online, and some of these characters that you can't really get access to, like Helga, for example, that's right next to Gerald from Hey Arnold's World. She's exclusively locked from the online, where you need to win 18 times and you have to win to get certain characters. So this roster is really good, and I really like the character models and the designs of how they made them and how they got into the game as they are. But I'm not too happy with Eastman Raphael, for example, and Purple Reptar. You see how they're just two different slots, and just looking at this roster, they take slots that other shows can probably be able to get into right now. They don't need to be in the game as slots or a separate character slot. You can come out with those characters as skins. How come Reptar and East and Raphael from the TMNT universe, they the only ones can get skins? How come Jenny Wakeman doesn't have her, Hot Rod Jenny skin that's already in Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl, for example? That could be a playable skin. But imagine that being a separate slot. Hot Rod Jenny or Hot Rod SJ9 right next, it's just in between Garfield. Let's go up here for a little bit. Jenny right there next to Garfield, next to Gur. Imagine if they had a Hot Rod skin for a separate slot. She has the same slot, the same stats, and just the only difference is she's just gonna look different. So that's why I think they really made the biggest mistake with Purple Rotar and Eastman. Instead of just looking different and having a different color, they have the same voice lines and they say the same thing. There's no other difference. So I'm thinking maybe they can add more to those characters and make the changes of removing them as separate slots. Since they're basically the same character, let's make the changes and have the player be able to change the skins, and maybe they can come out with new skins for updates for these different characters that you can rock and maybe unlock from slime tokens. They can put new skins on the shop where we can use our slime tokens. Don't y'all think? Just some ideas to make those changes for the roster itself. And then just with Kimi Finster and Tommy Pickles, for example, start talking about them for a little while, just for a little bit. You got Chucky Finster, and then you have Susie Carmichael for Rugrats, and then I already just finished talking about Rotar. Rotar is basically already in the game. So instead of that purple Rotar, it could have been a slot. You could have opened that opportunity and just for that chance to get Tommy Pickles or maybe Kimmy. And I added Kimmy into this particular video as another Rugrats rep because she was in Nickelodeon Kart Racers too. She wasn't a chief, but she was part of the crew members. She was one of the playable crew members that you could be able to play and choose between in the game from Nickelodeon Kart Racers too. And they also have other missing characters like Karai, who was a chief, and then some other characters in Dill from Rugrats. He was also a crew member with alongside of Kimi Finster. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking that they can definitely do something with the roster to make those changes. Kimmy would be a cool little DLC, and see how they did that turbo pack with Zuko. And for some reason, he's not even on this roster. I guess just they don't. I guess they should probably change that too for the website too, because Zuko is already a playable character, but he's exclusive to the Turbo Edition, and only if you pay for the Turbo Pack. Otherwise, you won't have access to Zuko, Shredder, Ozai, and then the other slime parts in the paint for the game itself. But they need to definitely make those different changes and add more characters like Tommy and Kimmy that can get into the game as first DLC. Paid DLC or maybe unlockable characters that we can face and go up against on the racetrack as boss battles. Battle against Tommy Pickles, or maybe you can, if they're not a boss battle to unlock that way, you can make them paid DLC and make Kimmy and Tommy together on an all-in-one package or an all-in-one pack to purchase. And then you can probably have those unlockable challenges that we can play. See how how cool that would be. You pay for the characters, you unlock Tommy and Kimmy as the new playable racers that deserve to be in the game, of course. But then you can play the challenges and unlock those other chiefs and other characters from his world. Stu Pickles could probably be one of them as a new playable chief, don't you think? That'll be pretty cool. Stu Pickles as a new chief, Dill to return from Nickelodeon Kart Racers 2 to be in the game to be able to get added. They already got Spike, and then some of the other ones from Rugrats, Phil and Lil, they're back as chiefs in the game already. But you see what I'm saying? They can put those other characters from those different worlds, and maybe they can have the alternate versions of them for from the Rugrats reboot. Maybe they're gonna, of course, look like that instead of their original designs from the way back then, from the old Nicktoons days. But see how Chucky and Susie look down here? If you guys look, they're gonna look the way they look because Chucky Finster and Susie have their Rugrats reboot sort of character models. So Tommy and Kimmy can have something similar of that fashion, and just so they'll be able to look almost, it'll fit the look because they'll both have their same different versions. And if they want, they can do the all grown up Kimi or Tommy. But those could be different skins that you can unlock and the player can be able to choose from. But I really think that they should definitely stick with the reboot look, since both Chucky and Susie look that way from the roster itself. But they don't have to stop there. You can come out with different characters. You can come out with different sort of updates to continue to add on to the game, and then with the garage changes, make some of those characters a little bit easier to unlock, where you don't have to win all the time. You can still be able to play the matches online, but you don't have to be able to have that pressure of winning online where you gotta come in first place. Anything but first place doesn't count. Anything that, if you don't come in first place, you don't get a reward. You're not going to get rewarded for not winning. What about from just being active on the game and playing the game? From the slime tokens themselves, they can spend the coins that way and purchase those characters. Like you can buy and purchase Michelangelo and Sandy and many other characters on the shop that way, and Donatello can get moved too, just in case, because some of y'all having trouble with the ghost trials too, where you gotta be good at drifting and you gotta really you gotta maintain speed, you gotta maintain that momentum, and you can't really make mistakes, because any sort of mistake will cost you the race or end up messing you up in the ghost trials. So certain things like that, it makes it challenging, even more pressure with winning, and just having just the whole sole purpose of winning in these particular matches in the race. And so I think it really makes it even more difficult and harder for these players to really be able to try to win against these other players that got all the badges online. It messes everything up. It ruins the momentum for the player that's trying to unlock the characters. So I think those changes need to really be made into the game for future updates. It adds more to it for new characters, and then we get more easier fashion, easier time for the players to unlock the characters that way. But Tommy and Kimmy, I definitely think would be awesome to be added into the game as just for some starters for new DLC, and then maybe in the future they can probably start adding Wild Thornberries DLC to be able to fit into the game. But I don't know. Even if it's not DLC, they can still update the game to make those necessary changes, and then they can probably do a little bit of changes and make things different, new unlockables and things like that. But we don't need a new sequel right now. We don't need to be thinking about Nickelodeon Kart Racers 4 and just throw this one away and throw it away and just be done with it. It's only been out for a couple months, so it still has a chance to shine. It's not even a year old yet. They still have plenty of things that they can do for the game. But let me know what you guys think. I definitely like this roster for what it is. It definitely can be better. It's so many SpongeBob reps. I'm just gonna say it. So many SpongeBob reps, and then certain, you know, slots like Reptar and then Eastman being in the slots. It could have been other characters that could have got into the game as well. But at least SpongeBob and Patrick are different to make up for the difference between the original SpongeBob and Patrick, at least.